It's the big one today. Mike's favourite Bond movie.
We've been waiting for this moment.
I'm excited.
Should we do it?
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Mr.
Bond.
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 Bond. James Bond.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Ultimate Bondcast. You are here once again with Chris and Mike. As always, I'm Chris. He's Mike. How are you, Mike?
I'm also okay over here, Chris. And I apologise because we're here once again to wreck your evenings on the Bondcast. But, well, I'm trying to be really positive about this one.
Wow, okay. the three people that normally watch us have just turned off.
Well, yes, well, this is going to be a balanced review today, though, Chris. So it's not going to be me kicking off.
But look, before we get into it, how are you?
I'm really good, mate. I'm really good. I'm very much happy. We saw a lot of some of the people in the community at the weekend for A View to a Kill. You guys will see that coming up a little bit later in the year. Otherwise, I'm wonderful because I'm with you and I'm with these guys.
Excellent, excellent. It was lovely to see some of the community, and I think that it made me realize like how I'd like to be more connected to that wider like Bond fan community, and I'm sure that we'll get that opportunity moving forward. But yeah, it was really lovely to see so many lovely people and to see a Bond movie on the big screen as well.
Oh, quite an experience, wasn't it?
Thank you for asking, Mike. Actually, yeah, I'm not great because I'm really cold, and I feel like it's really cold here. I don't know about you, but I've had to put a jumper on. I've had to put the heating on.
I'm on layers, mate. It's like somebody's hit autumn all of a sudden to us.
We're letting our Lord and Saviour Martin Lewis, the money-saving expert, down by putting the heating on, which is not good. I don't have the money to afford heating anymore, I don't think.
Not after doing this channel.
It's not pulling in the dinero that I hoped it would. Anyway, we digress. Look, I'm really excited to be digging into Diamonds Are Forever. It's a film I've not seen in a long while, and I'm really looking forward to hearing your views on it now that you've gone back into it. But before we do, there is, as ever, Bond news. So let's get into the Bond news, Mike.
Absolutely. Bond news is always going to live as long as we live, Chris, put it that way.
Let's hope so. I always want there to be Bond news.
I will also break it to you. This time there is no negative news, you'll be pleased to know. Not one piece.
Well,
okay.
I hope we're going to talk about the Amazon posters, Mike.
Well, absolutely. Or should we say what a travesty it's been? Because we've all seen, haven't we, where Amazon have basically butchered the Bond posters, which has probably thrown the fans into quite a lot of disarray.
It's mad, really. Isn't it? It's totally mad. Thank God it's got a happy ending, but still, what on earth were they thinking?
I mean, look, some of these are terrible, aren't they? Let's be honest. The way that they've either recaptured their arms or they've just took a gun out of their hand. And I think, is it GoldenEye? Can you see down the very bottom? That's probably the worst one in my opinion.
I think so too. GoldenEye and Dr. No, I think, are really obvious.
Yeah. And I don't.
There you go.
Does it worry the fans about Amazon's management of Bond? Possibly, it does.
I mean, I hope it was just I think it's probably just the marketing team trying to do something a little bit more family friendly, and now they've had this backlash and they've hopefully realised, oh God, no, we need to treat this with more reverence than we are, and maybe that's all that we needed.
Do you think it's made them realise that the Bond fan are very, very guarded and very protective of their?
Yeah, I think probably.
Series. So hopefully this is a wake up. Jeffrey Bezos, learn from this. Do not mess around with it. But I tell you, do you want to know who has messed around with these pictures, though, Chris?
Oh, please tell me.
The fan base. This is brilliant, right?
Yeah,
just to give you an idea, this is what some of the fans have done to the photo manipulations of these images. Check this out. Look at this.
Oh, they're amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I absolutely adore these. Just the humour.
I've seen some versions myself. Yeah, some of them are really good.
This is one amongst probably 8.
Oh yeah, there's so many of them about.
But it was just an amusing concept for the fans to go, do you know what, Amazon? If you're going to screw with it, I'm going to screw with it even more.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I loved it. So yeah, really pleased that they saw the error in their ways in the end. But what a ridiculous thing to do.
Absolutely, and hopefully this is a start of them actually doing something correct by Bond. So
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure they
Hey.
will. Water under the bridge already. I don't
guess
mind.
what else is also about to come out or has just come out, Chris?
Well, I mean, you tell me, mate. You tell me.
New book, mate. Well, I'm going to ask you because you've ordered it.
I have. Yeah.
But
It's
when you have,
Go on. Sorry.
there is a new. Is it Raymond Benson? I believe on the
man.
book that's coming out. Called. Remind me the title, actually, Chris. You. It's a Jeffrey. It's a Felix Leiter book, isn't it? It's not a Bond.
It is.
book,
It is a Felix Leiter book. Yeah, the Hook and the Eye, like I say, and it's set. I think it's set in the 50s.
It's the. It's our back cover, by the way. If you want to, I mean, it's your order, mate. Would you want to give us a little read?
I mean, I don't mind. I'm happy to.
Go for it.
But I will say first, like Raymond Benson is a tried and trusted Bond author. He's done 6, I think, original Bond novels already. I really like his work, so I was really excited for this when it came out. But the synopsis, as you'll see on the screen, it says it is 1952. Felix has lost his job at the CIA and finds himself working for the Pinkerton Detective Agency. And what starts as a simple surveillance job turns into anything but when Felix stumbles upon a murder and a cabal of spies embedded in Manhattan, hired to transport the impossibly beautiful and impossibly secretive Dora from New York to Texas. Felix is thrust into a non-stop adventure where danger and deceit lie in wait around every bend in the road. Super excited about this one, Mike. Well, look, it's just the excitement got to me. I got halfway through and I thought, I just need to read it.
Oh god. Well, that's interesting though. It's like I don't know. Technically, is it a Felix prequel book, or do we just treat it floats around and we don't really tie it into anything?
I mean, if it's set in the 50s, then I would assume it's a prequel book.
It's nice to see some refreshing. I would very much welcome that, and I would actually order that book if I'm being honest. Now, having read the background of it, I think it sounds like a really
exciting, isn't it? You see why I ordered it?
Bond light adventure, isn't it? I quite like that.
Tell you what, mate. I will let you read it after I've read it, and you can buy the next one. How about that?
I think that's a very fair deal, mate. I'll go with that one. And I will celebrate the moment by also unveiling that if you guys didn't know, it was Sir Roger Moore's birthday yesterday as well, guys.
It was.
1927, that gentleman was born, and that's absolutely staggering, isn't it? Really.
Oh, fantastic, isn't it? It's just what a legacy, what a Bond, this guy. He doesn't get enough credit for, I think, saving Bond, really, because I think it was probably down in the doldrums in the early 70s. Few missteps, few underperforming movies, and Roger Moore stepped in and took it to another level.
It's arguable, would it still be around if it
exactly
took that direction? So I completely agree, and I'm very much looking forward to getting into our next review after this one, which is
I can't wait.
More movies. So that could be quite interesting. More celebrations on the horizon. We're not stopping yet. We've got more to come, Chris, because guess what? As if you weren't there.
I'm excited. I don't know.
The 40th anniversary of View to a Kill, and it's the 30th anniversary of GoldenEye as well. So
it is, yeah. GoldenEye was released in November as well, so we are literally a month away from the actual release date for GoldenEye.
It's scary when you think about it. GoldenEye was 30 years ago. How does that happen? I mean, A View to a Kill doesn't even feel like it's 40 years ago, let alone the other.
I know, it's mad, isn't it? I don't know though. When there's in a way though, when you look at these two movies, I'm kind of amazed there's only 10 years difference between them.
You would actually, because
there's 10 years and 2 Bonds between them as well. There's a whole 2 Dalton movies in between these two. It's mad.
It was, and quite a long hiatus as well between Dalton and Brosnan. So that's quite staggering. You think about the transition that happened in that time from there for you. But happy anniversary, Tracy, to A View to a Kill and to GoldenEye. Brilliant. There is one more thing for you. We've had an extended Bond news. Right, I'm excited because we've been playing this on the channel. Would you believe next month it's also the anniversary of From Russia with Love on the PS2?
What anniversary?
This came out in 2005, so it says
20-year anniversary.
Yeah, that doesn't seem right, does it?
It's a 20-year anniversary for a game for a 60-year-old movie. It's bonkers. That is,
You
and it's
described
still
that
one of the
beautifully.
best games, Bond games of all time. I think.
100%. Will it get topped by First Light? Maybe, we don't know.
Oh,
But
let's hope so, because it's a great game.
I've got such fond memories of that game as a child. I think that would have made me 15 when that game first arrived.
Wow.
And I can't believe it was that long ago. And it still
Crazy.
looks beautiful graphically, even today. So yeah, happy birthday, happy anniversary, and Amazon, don't screw with us again. Thank you very much. That's Bond news.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Mike. Great. Lovely bit of Bond news, actually. Some really nice stories to get dug into. So let's hope that continues. But here we are. The point of today's Bondcast is a review of the final Sean Connery entry, Diamonds Are Forever.
Sad moment in a way, though, isn't it? Because we have gone from the entire journey now of Connery. Unless we go to Never Say Never Again, of course.
I was just going to say maybe I should have prefaced it with the final, like, official canon entry into the franchise. Mike, do you want to give us a little bit of before we go into a background of the movie? You know, what's the movie about?
So, in essence, it's a light-heart movie, and the idea is obviously he's Connery, final announces Bond. He's returned after not being in the Manchester Secret Service, and he's hunting down Blofeld, ultimately to find a way to get into another mission, which ultimately leads him back to Blofeld, who wasn't killed, and it's actually involved in a toppling of nuclear warheads through a diamond trade. So you can kind of see why I'm a little bit confused by this movie, by my very apt description, shall we say, of the movie. Really, it's a bit confusing.
It's an interesting plot, I'll give you that. But let's be honest, so many of the best Bond movies have crazy plots, so I'm not going to hold that against it. But so we had a slight detour into a more serious Bond movie with On Her Majesty's Secret Service. They tried to go in a slightly different direction. I think they recast James Bond. He had the opportunity for a multi-picture deal and he didn't take it for whatever reason. We know it's well documented.
Absolutely.
George Lazenby's no more, and the gentleman whose name escapes me that was going to be in this movie, they vetoed that, the production team, and Sean Connery was brought back at the last minute for a staggering $1.25 million. Very big budget, to be honest, and it shows on the screen, doesn't it?
Huge amount, and if you think about it, I mean, I think that translates like 1.2 million. What would that be in sort of today's era? 10 million, maybe 12 million?
Yeah, probably something like that.
You know, that's quite eye-watering.
Yeah, it's an astronomical amount of money for the time, I think. So this is 1971, isn't it? So this is 50 years ago. So it's a crazy amount of money. Sean Connery comes back, and I'm going to give you my initial thoughts just to Sean Connery coming back.
Go for it.
I think he looks older, but you know how people always say, like, oh, it's really old in this one. It is only 9 years after Dr. No. It's not like
he's not ancient, is he?
No, but he does look older. When I say it, like, he is only 9 years, but he looks like he's aged 40 years on the screen. But I think he's better in this film than he is in You Only Live Twice. I think what I mean by that is I think he looks like he's enjoying himself more. He looks like he's phoning in less than he did on You Only Live Twice.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, actually. To quote you, I don't agree. I do agree. No, with this movie, it's a bit of a weird with Connery, because my resistance to it slightly isn't necessarily the film. It's sometimes I feel like Connery took this as a money grab. There wasn't any seriousness to being Bond. He'd all displayed after You Only Live Twice. That was him kind of closing the door, and so rightly so. After 5 movies, especially in that era and that sort of level of fame, you're going to want to try your hand at other stuff about the risk getting typecast. But it just to me it screams that his heart wasn't in this film. That's why it's probably one of my biggest flaws, if I'm like, and it's not just going to it's terrible acting, or it just felt like he didn't want to do the movie, and there was just money on the table. and he knew he could name his price tag because they needed an actor, and they knew Connery would be a moneymaker for them. Absolutely, So I don't feel it's his best performance in any measure. It's definitely his worst performance, if you want to put it into that context, compared to what we've seen in Goldfinger and Thunderball and all that sort of stuff. But only because of that reason, not because he's a bad actor, because that wasn't his hearted movie, if that makes sense.
In
Is that fair?
this film. In this film,
yeah.
Oh, so I feel slightly differently then. I feel like he looks unhappy and bored in You Only Live Twice, and I don't think he looked that way in this film. I think he was done with Bond with You Only Live Twice, and then they paid him a stupid amount of money for this film, and he came in thinking, yeah, okay,
great,
cool, do it.
Quick
I'm
money.
not bothered, but I'm also I don't know. Maybe I see it slightly differently, but that's cool. And I think what we're going to do is I'm going to try and keep a little bit of structure to this review, and we're going to go through the movie bit by bit. But what I am going to do is start off with give us your just your overall thoughts of the film first. So what's your initial sort of overview of how you felt the film went?
So look, it's important to put this out. It isn't all bad. When I say it's a bad film, I mean it's my least favourite Bond film. And the true reflection is there's no such thing as a terrible Bond movie. It just there are stronger entries than others, from there. Lorenzo's in the chat, by the way. Yeah, it very much agrees. It's an underrated movie on his perspective.
Cool.
Hi, Lorenzo. Good evening or good morning. Thank you for joining us. Can I just point out as well, without digressing, the Collector's joined as well. Hello, Collector. Thank you for joining us as well. Nice to see you.
Nice one. Hi, both. That's great to see you.
Hey, but no, so my overview of this movie, right? I wanted a darker tone. I think I got teased by a Master Secret Service. I think that's the route it was going to go in. And the trouble with Diamonds Are Forever, I feel like it would have been better as a Moore movie rather than a Connery movie. So in some ways, it felt like the Connery movie was trying to be a Roger Moore movie, but didn't quite hit in some areas, That being said, some of the action was quite good. I'll give you some of just little things I really liked. I had to note this down because I know
Go for it.
Otherwise I would have just gone off at a tangent, Chris.
Let's see if you've noted some of the same things down that I have.
So I like the elevator fight with Peter Franks. I think that was fantastic. Really, really well done. Tiffany Case, actually, the Bond girl, she was actually really good, in fairness. So I won't. We'll go into some more detail, of course.
Yeah.
Car chase was really, really quite engaging with some flaws, which we'll pick up in a bit. The opening wasn't too bad either. It doesn't necessarily ring that Bond's going to go and kill him for killing his wife, but it was all right,
Too busy making mud pies, though, wasn't he?
That's my other problem. I'll tell you that in a minute. The title music. Now, this is the one thing it doesn't miss a beat on. Diamonds Are Forever as a theme with Shirley Bassey. Brilliant. Absolutely phenomenal. And I think the Collector just picked up exactly the same thing there. It's out of an artist that's done 3 Bond themes. To choose the second best theme is
I feel like you're giving me all of your opinions to all of the important points of the movie.
No, these are overviews, Chris. These are overviews. This is not everything, okay? And the funny thing is I quite like the final fight. But we'll dig into this more. I'm just giving you the little snippets because
I like it.
Point out to you that I don't believe it's all bad. I just believe it's probably a weaker entry than others. That's all.
Oh, no, I completely agree with you on that. And I don't think you're alone in that either. I think it's widely considered probably one of the weaker entries. Maybe I'm speaking out of turn there, but I think it generally is considered. Like I don't dislike it as much as you, but I think it's just
you watched it today, didn't you?
I watched it today. Yeah. I was hard at work today.
Your head is right in the game tonight, isn't it?
It is. It is. I left it late, but I saw it today, and it's kind of a boring Bond movie in places, and I'm sure we'll get into it. It's not shot in an exciting way. It's quite pedestrian, quite static. And we'll talk about that shot with the car a little bit later.
We have to.
Anyway, look, let's get stuck into this. So we've got the beginning of the Bond movie where Bond is on his so-called revenge mission to take down Blofeld, although it isn't really. It kind of feels like a way of brushing the previous movie under the carpet a little bit, whilst also reintroducing us to Sean Connery. So, what do you think of this intro?
So the introduction, I think it's pretty fair to me to say peculiar. It's not your typical Bond opening. If you compare what had just gone before it, Where there was particularly sort of like good fight scenes, high octane action in some areas, car chases. For me, this felt very peculiar and very off tone, if I'm being honest. That being said, I quite like where he's trying to find he's going after all Blofeld's contacts at the beginning, one by one. Where is he in? Tell me where he is. But they all seem to magically know who he's talking about.
No, I love
not
it.
asking
It was
the name.
It was such a great like cliche montage scene that you get from any movie. Like Deadpool did it really well in the first Deadpool movie. If you remember when he was like, tracking down that guy. Say again.
That's actually a very good comparison. Yeah.
I love the bit at the beginning where he's like, it cuts to Cairo and that guy goes, "Hit me," and then Bond just comes in and is like, "Poof." Like, I really love that. It made me laugh.
And it's like, one charge. Where is he? Where is he? And that part I quite liked. And then it just takes a really peculiar curve because he finds Blofeld and then he's fighting guards really campy, not particularly engrossing or the way you'd expect somebody to be encountering when they've just killed your wife, and kills him for a mud pie. That's what I mean by the problem I have with it. I don't see. I know Bond's always known for its level of lightheartedness, but this is a subject that we last saw this guy when he was crying his eyes out, while cradling his dead wife. That's not what I would assume to see him in his next encounter.
It's one of those where like it's badly written. I think it's down to the writing, personally, and I think they had an impossible task because clearly Eon or whoever it is that's doing this at the time are turning around and saying, "No, we need to course correct here," and they've got to do something crazy. They've got to do a Rise of Skywalker, and like completely ignore what came before, or try and like strong arm it into something that makes sense. So yeah, it's odd. But I think they do an okay job. It's like it's one of those Bond films where I would like to think it just slots in somewhere else. Like it doesn't happen straight after Tracy was killed. It happens, let's say 10 years further on down the line, and that's probably where Diamonds Are Forever should have fitted.
I feel like it should. There's no reason why you couldn't just put it after You Live Twice, if I'm being honest. There's nothing that really determines it. And
that's a great point. That's a great point.
The tone of it fits so much better because we had Charles Gray in that movie with You Only Live Twice as another character. So it's conceivable that Blofeld would try and copy his face. Maybe. I don't know.
I get that. That would have been an interesting way of doing it. Like I'm a ghost from your past, blah, blah, blah. But what I will say about the beginning bit that you brought up about how Blofeld just sort of, he just appears, he dies, blah. The way I always thought of it in my head was that Blofeld set that up. It was like a oh, you caught me, and then he faked his own death in order for Bond to leave him alone and for him to disappear and take the heat off a little bit. That's what I thought it was.
Is it fair for me to say, right, that this feels like, in a way, a Goldfinger rehash in certain ways?
It's 100% a Goldfinger rehash, mate.
A lot of the elements
100%.
they've revisited, haven't they? Ultimately,
so, you've got the same time of plot. It's set in the USA. Sean Connery is back. The same director, Guy Hamilton's been brought back. Shirley Bassey's been brought back. It's just they're trying to recapture Goldfinger.
They are picking the best elements that they believe would have been a money grab, and that's the problem. Money grab is what it feels like.
It's a movie made by committee, isn't it? That's what this is.
And I think my other issue, Chris, unfortunately, is the fact that I agree with you. There is dull moments at times, and that's not sort of I say likely about Bond films because there isn't a lot of that. And I don't need somebody shooting and fighting. That's not what I'm referring to. I'm referring to more the pacing, the script side of it. I think there was a really sort of. I think you mentioned after the lift fights. With Peter Franks, for example, the cliche of you just killed James Bond. How does Tiffany Case as a smuggler
how does she know
who
James
007
Bond
is?
is? Yeah, but she doesn't know what he looks like because he's standing right in front of you. But she probably knows what his drink order is because everyone knows what his drink order is.
That really bothered me. It's like he's an international celebrity. It's not. He's a double agent. He's in secret.
He's Paris Hilton in the 90s. It's so like. Let's move on from the intro. Although we'll leave talking about Blofeld, I think, until the end. Like, so let's briefly. Shirley Bassey's song. I'll just say, because I haven't got a lot to say on this. I remembered it being better. It's all right. It's when we were talking like a Goldfinger, I was like, oh, is it Goldfinger or is Diamonds Are Forever better? Like Goldfinger is so much better than Diamonds Are Forever. Now that I've heard it again, but Diamonds Are Forever is a great song, but it is not even close to Goldfinger. But yeah, I don't have a lot to say on it. I thought it was a fine song.
So Lorenzo just put up, I also feel like this movie has so much potential. Don't get me wrong, I like how it is, but I feel like the movie could have been more. And I think that's a really fair outcome. It's not terrible to watch, but you do expect more from it. And hey, what do you say? You get more in the next movie, don't you? Literally. So, maybe they did learn from certain parts of it, Chris, possibly. That's my sort of perception on it, if you like, really. So it's very hard to be cruel on this film. But
I'm not trying to be cruel.
It's probably one movie that I'm not keen to revisit based on that fact, especially after and the disappointment is the fact I've just gone through 6 particularly decent films before it that are all quite adventurous.
At least they're consistently good, aren't they? Sean Connery's films and On Her Majesty's Secret Service by extension. They're consistently good. They're not all top notch, but
no, of course not. Not all.
They're all good.
They're quality entries in the series.
They're not like Roger Moore. I think has some real highs and some real lows, but Sean Connery's generally are pretty consistent, I think.
Let me ask you a question. How long at the beginning of that open sequence did that guy sit in the mud pie with a gun waiting for Bond?
Oh, forever, mate. I don't know what he was doing. I thought they put him in there for the surgery. But they were
for a minute,
we're going to put you in there for the surgery, but we're also going to give you a revolver. We're not even going to give you an automatic gun. We're going to give you a gun that could easily get blocked up by weird mud. But do you know that was instant mashed potato that they used?
No, I didn't, but that doesn't make it any better.
Apparently it stank after a day, like something rotten.
I know one thing that does spring to mind there, though, Chris, is the fact that, yes, they did it that way where he was in the pie and in the mud and all that lot, but how bad was it to use Goldfinger's pistol?
Yeah, they used Goldfinger's pistol. I didn't even notice, mate.
Look back, it's a golden crystal. It's a golden Beretta. Not Beretta.
Do you think they just
Magnum? Yeah.
Did they not even realise that? Have they just pulled that out of like storage and used it?
That's exactly what it was. I think they just used an old prop. Which also is another reason why I go. It could be a rehash in certain ways.
We're getting off. We're 27 minutes in. We've made it 5 minutes into the movie. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and bring us back. But is there anything more that you wanted to say on the title song or
no? Song in my opinion is very, very good.
Soundtrack in general, I think, actually, though, is very good in this film. It's quite sedate, it's quite calm and mellow. And then you've got that great like action lick that is in this film, which I won't be able to do because I'm struggling to think of it with the other music in my head. But
do you know what is good, though? Is the Bond twang. Yeah,
it's really good. And there's loads of brass in this.
Yeah. I think that was brilliant, the way that
I do love the music in this film.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about. We're going to go through the film now. The next really big characters that I'd say we meet are Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd.
Yeah, that's just an interesting one.
How do you feel about them?
I actually really like them, if I'm being honest. I think they're probably one of the strengths of the movies and probably better than the actual villain, if I'm being honest, as henchmen. I think the concept of them being freelance Spectre assassins is actually a really good idea because it's very much undercover, very creepy, and like they don't appear physical threats, but they appear a little bit unhinged, and you don't quite know what to make of them because they're on about taking a class for a little trip to Holland, and you're like, what's all this about? And that's one thing I really do like about this film. Actually, Wint and Kidd are very, very good. Not an issue at all. I can't give you any criticism there at all.
No, I think that they're some of the, I'm not going to say the best, but they're some of the best henchmen in any Bond movie. I really do think that they are super fun to watch and really creepy, especially Mr. Wint. Like his line delivery in this movie is superb, and like I literally wrote creepy down in my notes when you said it. And the fact that they made them a couple as well, it's just like really cool about them. And just, this film, like, I don't know if you know, Mr. Wint played by Prince Glover. And I sat there going, oh my God, this guy looks just like Marty McFly's dad. And he is. So Crispin Glover, who plays George McFly in Back to the Future, is his son. So
that's metal. That's crazy.
He's a really creepy guy as well. Crispin Glover, in everything he is in, he plays it really creepy and weird. So he's just like his dad.
You know what gets me? It's the chin. It's a really
it's the chin. It's the chin and the angled
isn't it?
chin, isn't it? It's that triangle he's got going on, which I don't. But I love them. I think they're brilliant.
I'm trying to remember which one was Wint and which one was Kid. So who was the glasses with the ginger hair? Was it Wint or Kid?
That was Kid, the bigger guy with like the mullet. Yeah, that was Kid. Wint was like the one who felt like he was in charge out of the two of them a little bit.
Yeah, I think he was probably, I don't know. I suppose could you liken it to Pinky in the Brain in a way?
A little bit, yeah. That's kind of the a little bit, yeah.
And Lorenzo's got a perfect example there. Yeah, they were campy, fun villains, not to be taken seriously, but maybe they're.
I'd love to have seen him in another. I wish they hadn't killed him off. They'd have been a good recurring villain.
Now there is, in fact, we'll pick up a little bit later, but there's also another flaw with a missed reoccurring a character in this movie. So
yeah, I think I know who you're going to talk about. But I mean, we're all over the place with this review already. But like,
I think it's because we're so balanced on this movie. It's not
we're so passionate.
we've been just to explain to you guys. We've been waiting for this moment since January. This has been a movie that's been floating around for various reasons. If you look at our previous podcasts, you'll see that we've not always favoured this movie, but this is why it's pretty more interesting than ever because we're not just here to go, oh, it's rubbish, don't watch it. There is genuine reasons why we believe it's weaker. You know.
And I will say I still enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to, and is still a film I'd put on. You know, it's not a film I would never watch. It just wouldn't be high on my list. So the other things that I've got written down. So Bond girl, Jill St. John as Tiffany Case.
And definitely not Nikki Van der Sel even doing the voice by the sound of it either. But
I do know that Plenty was dubbed. I don't know who did the voice.
Now, this is there's two things. There's two things I follow with these. The Bond girls, actually, right? So let's take the primary Bond girl, Tiffany Case. I think she was actually really good. I quite liked her engagement. I liked her confidence. I liked her there's a bit of a swagger about her, almost to rival Connery in a certain way. And I quite like that moment because when I think it was when he enters the flat before the fight in the elevator, and she changes her hair color, and he was almost taken back. Like even Connery's like speechless. I notice things like when a girl's a blonde or a brunette. He's just filling hot air.
But what a one-liner as well, where she's like, "Does it matter?" Well, as long as the collars and cuffs match. And I'm like, whoa. Okay,
that's a line.
It is such a line.
But no, I really liked her. It's weird how we've had three. If you cut out on the Master Secret Service, we've had three consecutive Connery movies with basically gingers as Bond girls. If you think from Thunderball, You Only Live Twice to this. I quite like. They obviously had a thing going on, didn't they? Somebody had a real ginger fetish, and they thought, let's make this work.
Probably broccoli, probably.
But her acting was not wooden. I quite liked her, and I would also have a bit liked to have seen her recurring again, maybe with another Bond, possibly like a Roger Moore outing, possibly. They could have got her to revisit. She didn't die. She was left Bond on what seemed like quite amicable terms. So,
I love the description of Bond and a Bond girl being on amicable terms. It's like understatement of the centuries attempting re-entry.
Oh my God! Don't! That's gonna stay with me.
So I agree in some respects. I think she is very good in the role. I think she takes a weird turn about halfway through the movie for me. I think she's really confident and a real force for the first half of the movie. Seductive, confident, where she's laying on the bed, like you're showing here on screen. There's just something about her where she's a bit of an equal to Bond. And then she's caught by Blofeld and she becomes this sort of ditzy, weak, weird, bimbo Bond girl, and I'm like, what happened? Like, she's falling off, she's shooting a gun and going, there's one bit where she actually says, "E," like she actually just goes,
I remember
"E."
that,
and I'm like, what happened to you? So yeah, I love her in the first half, don't love her in the second half.
When she switches the tape and the wrong way round, and then she misses, she gets ricocheted by the gun backfire. I did go, yeah, this is not great.
What happened to her? Yeah, so yeah, that's how I feel about her. I thought she was great at the beginning, and I don't know.
Look at the comments there on the page. She looks amazing, doesn't she? She's a really beautiful Bond girl.
She does look amazing,
and yeah, not necessarily down to her acting. The scripting has clearly put her into a bad second half of the movie. Really,
Lovely. Well, yeah. Okay. So, is there anything you wanted to say on Plenty O'Toole, or do we move straight on?
Well, Plenty O'Toole was she wasn't used enough, to be honest. Not that she was particularly good acting, but a plot point. I think we're all familiar with. There's a missed cut scene of why she was even in the pool drowned when Bond goes to visit the villa. In fact, you could even mistake for the fact it wasn't even her because it was that unclear.
Yeah, it was very unclear, wasn't it? Thank God he said her name, because I hadn't got a clue when I first watched it.
I wouldn't have known if he hadn't have said it, to be honest with you. But that's a really bad idea of continuity and editing and stuff like that, really. So that was, again, one of the reasons why this movie really goes down in its estimates in my eyes.
I think that Plenty O'Toole gave us two of my favourite Sean Connery lines in any Bond movie, when she says, "I'm Plenty," and he says, "I'm sure you are." Plenty O'Toole, and he says, "Named after your father." Named after your father. I was like, oh, that's so funny. But then the bit where she gets thrown into the pool as well, and he says, "Exceptionally fine shot," and the guy turns to him and says, I didn't know there was a pool down there. And I was like, such good lines. It's so brilliant.
They were. Isn't it ironic that the lines that these characters are delivering are better than Bond's lines? And that's That's really, really rare, isn't it? Really,
Yeah, it is. It is really. Rare.
So yeah, look. I mean, Plenty O'Toole. She's an unnecessary plot line, if I'm being honest. But had they incorporated her going to the mansion and then getting caught and drowned, that would have offered a lot more, dialogue for her, a more chance to shine, a reason for her death, and more reason for, Blofeld to be seen as a bigger threat, even though we don't know he's there at this point, really. Because she's an unknown character. She's not somebody that's an agent or she's just a rich girl in Vegas, really. Isn't she? That's all she is, But not a lot to contribute in terms of performance, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I think you're right. She was a means to an end. So we're going to move on to the last main character of this movie, and that's Blofeld. This time played by the wonderful Charles Gray. And I'll start off with this one. A lot of people say he's the weakest Blofeld, and I get it. I think he probably is as well, but I don't hate him as Blofeld. And I think I watched it this time, maybe thinking that I would hate him more or would like him less. Hating him is a really strong term. I think he's really good in the role. I think he holds the screen really well. He's a very good actor, even though he's not Telly Savalas and he is not Donald Pleasance. He's still a very good actor. I find like the cigarette thing weird. There's some unusual choices, and I think the plot of him being cloned is dumb, but could have been used really well. Like it could have been a thread throughout all of the movies where there's a reason why he looks like Telly Savalas now because of the plastic surgery, and now he looks like Charles Gray, as we discussed before. But like, I think he's really good in it. I think he has a lot to do. It's a shame we didn't get a fight between them, but he had a lot to do in the movie. I think the some of his line delivery is amazing, like showing a bit more cheek than usual, my dear, is fantastic.
He was a more flirty Blofeld, wasn't he? Let's be honest.
He was, but when he shouts at that guy as well, when that guy's going mental at the end and he's like, "You calm down, stop shouting," and then he immediately turns around and is like, please ready my sub, I'm going. And he just walks off like completely calm as everyone's fighting and just gets in his sub. He's brilliant.
I feel like,
go on, you say.
It's right, so it's really weird. But let's bear in mind, right, I need to give you some context before I say what I'm going to say. let's see, I think, how we found Blofeld in the first instance, which ultimately was from Russia with Love and Thunderball, where we never saw his face. He was sort of sitting behind a shield, a frame in front of his eyes, or he was on a big chair, and that chair back happens to be facing the camera. He was always obscure from view, creating this terrible villain that you're gonna go, who is this guy? He keeps trolling Bond and the world and threatening and extorting everybody. And
of all of this,
when you meet Donald Pleasance, I think that creepy bit came in again. And you're like, oh, this is the little weed that's been doing this. He's not physically threatening, but he's an absolute, unhinged guy from that point of view. Telly Savalas was a more, I don't know, grand, physical, threatening Blofeld, that sort of thing. But for me, Charles Gray, I don't feel like he necessarily hit the nail for me personally. I like him as an actor. I liked him ever so briefly in You Only Live Twice. It's nothing against him. I just don't think he held Blofeld in the same way.
I think that's fair.
Maybe it's not necessarily his fault. Maybe, again, it falls back to writing and scripting and the way it's meant to be portrayed. But, yeah, for me, he's the out of the three, or if you want to include Christoph Waltz, the fourth, he is the lowest ranked Blofeld for me. And I'd like to have seen more from him, personally. I think there was probably more performance we didn't get privy to.
Yeah, I think he is definitely. I think for me, he is the lowest as well. But he's not low. I think he's good, and I actually really love Telly Savalas as Blofeld. I mean, I really did. I would argue Telly Savalas over any of them any day. But I think he's good, and I think he does a job in this film. This job is let down in so many ways by the things that aren't on screen. I think that's what we're getting at. I feel like it's let down by the money, and it's let down by the script, and it's let down by the producers, and it's let down by the people who are putting the film together.
It's not the actors. I'm not putting it on them at all.
They're giving it their all. And let's talk a little bit about that. So this was directed by Guy Hamilton. And I feel like this guy, I don't know what happened to him here, because he is a great director of Bond movies. He directed Goldfinger. He directed Live and Let Die. He directed Man with the Golden Gun. He knows what he's doing. I just think he had an off day, and I think he was probably battling against studio interference, perhaps. I don't know.
I think there's probably a lot of rushed behind the scenes production, because if you think after the last film they lost an actor, they had to gain an actor, they had to pay a lot of money out. They were probably
40-50% of their budget.
They had to get it out quickly to make some money back, and that's what I can sympathise with. However, the other part of me doesn't forgive them for that. It's like, as in, look what we're getting with Bond now, or the gap between Dalton and Brosnan. And then what was brought out was brilliant. GoldenEye, for example, was amazing. So to me, I don't forgive that. However, is it arguable that was a correction later on that they learned from? It's a very, very weird relationship I've got with this film.
Yeah, I have too, and even with me saying that he's a great director, I still think he dropped the ball in this film at times. I'm going to let you talk now about the car chase, because I know you wanted to bring it up. What I will say about that car chase is there's an awful lot of wide shots. The cars are driving slow. I've just found all of the way he shot action really pedestrian in this movie. It went nowhere. The moon buggy car chase looked dumb and slow. Everything just slow. Yeah, so go on. Anyway, you talk to me about the car chase. Because I know you wanted to say something.
Well, let me just bring the screen up that we had from before. So, Chris, this shot, we all know. If you're a Bond diehard fan, you know deeply about that shot.
As a director, it's unforgivable. This shot, really,
it's really sloppy, and that's, I think,
just
for me,
do it again, shoot it again.
That was the moment for me, Chris, when my brain shut off from this film and made me start to watch the clock. The fact they just corrected it with a green screen of Bond and Tiffany going like that to that, and I was like, come on, that is just weak continuity. A kindergarten kid could get the continuity more on point in my respect for that moment. That's what I believe. The collector just comes, well, what do you mean continuity?
Yeah, you're telling us, man. It's so dumb, but it's a dumb movie. Weird. So I don't know. I think if you say this takes you out of a Bond movie, then you weren't in it enough in the first place.
It immersed me. It took the immersement away.
Just a shame. It's a shame that he did that for you. So while we're on the car chase, I'm going to assume that there was maybe another potential recurring character that occurred around here that
I'm
you
glad.
wanted to discuss.
I'm
Was
glad
this the
we're in
same
the
character I
same-
was thinking of?
Why the hell wasn't this Sheriff J.W. Pepper?
Well, I mean,
Why?
Sheriff J.W. Pepper didn't exist at this point, but wasn't it
But
a
it
great,
could
like,
have.
dry run for this is what we could do with the sheriff in the future?
Right, so I believe, right, you know, when we had the crossover from Connery to Lazenby, and it was
Yeah,
about, oh, is he the same man and all that lot. To have a character pop up like that in the last Connery movie to then appear again in the first Moore movie, from a continuity point, would be incredible, because I think the community love Sheriff J.W. Pepper. He's one of my favourite side characters in the entire franchise. And it was like, yeah, maybe it was just trying the lines and just seeing how they get on. But it was a really missed opportunity. And I'm sure the producers know that looking back now.
Sometimes it shocks me how few movies Sergeant Pepper is in, and he's like Sheriff Pepper, not Sergeant Pepper and his Lonely Hearts Club Band. How many? You know, if you asked me, like when I was 20, how many movies he's in, I'd probably be like, yeah, 5. Like every Roger Moore movie he's in 2. You know, and it's like,
Yeah,
I
but he
really
has a
thought he
much
was in
more
more.
There is a legacy there for a
There
very
is exactly
short-lived
that. There's a
character.
legacy.
You know, so I really, I know you can't argue because he didn't exist technically back then at this point, but
No.
that is a missed opportunity and one of the sort of tragedies of the franchise, really.
I knew exactly who you were talking about when you said it, because
We had planned
just
that, hadn't
sort of-
we, Chris?
He does that same sort of thing with his hat, and he's like, "Oh God," you know, and you're like, he would have been perfect.
And it's the
as-
sort
as
of
J.W.
Southern American style to the accent, and the sort of I don't know, I don't say the wrong word, but it's sort of like laid back, you know, casual sort of
Yeah.
sheriff, that sort of thing.
I don't
It's
think
like,
that's wrong.
Larry, did you get him, Larry? I think you got him, Larry. And
I always in my head, I always think of, like, you know, Jack Wade from the Brosnan movies. I always think of him as a bit of a spiritual successor to Pepper.
I do agree with that, and there's probably a lot of influence at that point. But
Yeah.
Pepper should have been in this movie, even if he wasn't known at this point. So, yeah,
They should have retconned it and gone and inserted him into the movie.
If I had a time machine, I wouldn't go back and solve world hunger and World War. I'll just make sure Sheriff J.W. Pepper appears earlier in the franchise, and he actually did. That would be my course correct.
So let's talk briefly about the finale of the movie in general, because we've talked about Blofeld and Bond, but I think that the finale on the oil platform is let down again. I don't know if you know this, but there was another money issue with the oil platform. Before the cameras were on, a lot of the explosives were accidentally set off. That's why
They were.
not a lot happening.
That's also a flaw in production, isn't it? So
Exactly, it's all production's fault.
And I think Lorenzo just put a message up not long ago about Guy happens having good movies and bad movies in his run, and yeah, that's the tragedy of it. He would be responsible for that being the case. To be honest, even if it wasn't him, the book stops with him. If that makes sense, he's the director.
Yeah, he is. But I mean, everyone's allowed good days and bad days. Don't get me wrong, and I don't think he's alone in. And I just wanted to come on. The collector also wanted to talk a little bit more about the moon boogie chase. I know we touched on it briefly, but I thought it was, again, maybe it was a missed opportunity. I just think some production guy really wanted to see him in that buggy, and so they did it. It just seemed stupid.
It did. I get why it was his way out, but I think Bond could have easily just slipped out a side door, found a bike, and then got across the desert on a bike. Or something like that, or a quad bike.
It's just again another really slow action scene in this film to add to all the other slow action scenes, I think.
It is, and then we had obviously the sub as well, which was quite nice actually, but
the
underused, totally underused. You know,
I love it. I really love it. And then but that's the ending of Blofeld, just being hanging from a crane, just getting bumped into things. Is like, oh god, this just looks silly.
I just feel like that's where my main engagement just goes. This is just not my taste. I expect somebody else out there would absolutely adore this movie and would clearly put it at their number one. But for me, it doesn't even make my top, 20 out of the 25 movies. So that's where I'm going to be at. But I do respect people's opinions based on these movies. But the oil rig fight was very, I don't know, irrelevant, should we say? There could have been a better ending.
Thank goodness that they add this button on at the end of Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd attempting to assassinate Bond, because I think it's a far more interesting ending, even if it's still a bit silly.
Was that the salvation, do you reckon? That saving moment, the fact they appeared on the boat? Because the public likes them. From what I can gather, the public liked Wint and Kidd. And they're probably the saving face for this movie for me.
Brutal ending for them as well. Like when Kidd goes up in flames and he's like, "Wah!" And it's really good. I want to ask you though,
so subtly as well, don't they? It doesn't just like, Rah! It just goes, walks towards Bond, doesn't he?
Can I ask you a question though? This has been bothering me. The timer that they put on the bomb, where did they think they were going to be when that bomb went off? Because the bomb goes off like before he hits the water, and I'm like, that was 30 seconds. 30 seconds after, they served them the cake. Where did they think they were going to be? They would have been upstairs at best.
Yeah. One of the many mysteries of this movie.
Maybe I'm just reading into it wrong.
I cannot give you an explanation other than to say I completely agree with you.
Yeah, I will. Thank you. Is there anything else that you want to talk about with this film? Because I feel like we're kind of there. We're heading towards our summary. But is there anything that I don't want to cut off anything that you still want to talk about?
I feel that we've got this movie quicker because from our perspective, there's more bad than good, if that's a fair thing to say. Mm-hmm. And we're not praising bits as much as we have done in other reviews. That's maybe why we're rushing. I'm not saying rushing for it, but we seem to be getting through it.
No, we don't rush through it. Not at all. We've done great.
So no, I actually don't. Other than to say that I really wish this wasn't the end of the Connery era for me. I wish there was another movie. Hence why we maybe would look at Never Say Never Again one day. Who knows?
I in a different way, I wish that we hadn't got Connery. And that the last movie was his last movie. That You Only Live Twice was his last movie, and they just left him there.
Yeah.
One thing I would like to. I'm looking through my notes. That's all, and I feel like, good. I'm glad it was just positive. I'm positive that I hate it.
I don't hate it. We're not misleading you at all.
I'm just checking, and I feel like I've covered everything. I just want to say the real villain of the movie is Moneypenny, because what a bitch. Did she really ask Bond for a diamond ring months after his wife's death?
That was a bit rough, wasn't
callous it? Bitch she is. Unbelievable.
That is heartless, Moneypenny. Lois Maxwell, no.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. He's grieving. His wife's just died, and you're asking him for an engagement ring.
Do you know what thing we do have to do? It's really interesting here, though, Chris, as we are used to doing now. We need to do our rating, mate.
Let's do our rating. It's going to fall a little bit because of Moneypenny, I'm going to have to say.
Just because of Moneypenny, nothing else. Yeah.
Right, so do you want me to get the sheet up? Have you got it? You've got it.
Yeah, let's have a look first. So let's see where we were previously.
Look at our scores.
It's weird, isn't it? Right, so we put our higher ratings cleared in the middle, which we knew was going to be Goldfinger, didn't we? From Russia with Love, pretty much. So that's quite not
your rating. I'm still shocked by your rating for On Her Majesty's Secret Service. It still gets me sometimes in my sleep.
That is about perception, isn't it? It's crazy when you think about it. So all things considered, what do you
want me to go first? Because I know that you've got a strong opinion of this movie. And I want to give you appropriate time to give us your minus 65 out of 10. I'm going to tell you right now that mine for Diamonds Are Forever as a Bond movie is because we're going for points, I'm going to give it a 4.8 out of 10.
4.8. Make a note of that. That could go in the record book. So if that's your lowest score,
make sure it goes in the record books, mate.
Right. So I'm thinking about this quite fairly, and I need to bear in fact that there is some things we've praised this movie.
I think you need to give it credit. Bad. It's not a disaster of a movie.
But for me, I mean, this is going to be my lowest score in the ranking. That's unmistakable.
Is it? Is it your least favourite Bond movie? It's worse than Die Another Day.
This will be my lowest level ranking. Yeah. So to be fair with it, the fact that it's not horrendous, it's definitely not going to be a 0.
No.
I'm going to go in there with a probably, don't scold me, 2.5. I'm going to give it.
Wow.
It's probably saved by.
It's a
Winston
Sean
Kidd.
Connery Bond movie, and he gives
Doesn't
it a
seem
2.5.
real, does it? It really doesn't seem real.
I tell you what,
2.5.
I don't know who hurt you, Mike, but the last couple of Bond movies you are cruel. You're a cruel man who doesn't love any Bond movies.
Do you know what I'm doing, Chris? I'm leaving room for the next era. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And that's it. The more era is upon us very shortly.
Yeah, the more era, and you're going to be there. 10, 10, 10, 10. Octopussy 12. Aren't you?
Yeah.
I know what you're like.
We never made a ceiling on our points, did we? We just assumed it was 10.
Oh no, we've made a ceiling,
yeah,
mate. It's out of 10.
Yeah.
We're not marking these out of 100. Like, the collector's aghast. He can't believe it.
Yeah, that's where we're at, and I think yours is a very forgiving result as well.
I think it's fair. I think 4.8 is fair. I think Lorenzo and Collector, if you're still on, give us your marks out of 10. I really want to know.
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking here? It's not a disaster.
No, not at all. But that's what we've got to be fair with it. But I'm very excited for Live and Let Die, Chris. Very excited.
I'm so excited. To get stuck into Roger Moore, because I think I'd love to. I tell you what I'd love to do, if you're up for it. I think we do another Bond ranking after we've done all 25 movies and see if any of our Bonds have moved, because I reckon Roger Moore will be a mover for me.
So this will be sort of Christmas 26, won't it? Somewhere around
Probably.
there. We'd be
like a redux of our reviews.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
How interesting would that be?
And our perceptions could change. Absolutely. I'm going to go with that. I agree with that. Well, that is it. That is banked for the diary, Chris. We're going to put it in.
Collector says 5 out of 10. We're almost exactly the same. 5 out of 10 seems fair.
Well, I'm half of that, but still.
You're half. Well, no, I mean we, as in myself and the Collector, clearly kindred spirits who love Bond.
Well, yeah, I shouldn't be a Bond fan, should I?
I'm joking, mate.
No, it's been tremendously fun to review this one, honestly, and it's been really good. Guys, if you're regulars, of course, you can tell this is a different tone to the review. We don't usually do it this way, but this has been the elephant in the room for a bit, hasn't it? Really, and onwards to more engaging opportunities, shall we say, with Roger Moore.
Yeah, I think so. Live and Let Die, one of my favourite Bond movies, I think. I don't know why. I think like maybe it was one of my dad's, so it felt like one of the first films I saw with my dad. So that's really. And the Collector says it was his introduction to Bond. Maybe it was an introduction for a lot of people. I don't know.
Possibly, yeah. Wouldn't slate it if it is, to be honest with you. It's probably, we've all got our introduction. For me, it was Brosnan. That's where I started, and I eventually went backwards, and I found the love that I had got hooked into this franchise, and thank God I did.
Mike, I've loved talking about Diamonds Are Forever with you. I love doing these movie reviews with you. I think we have so much fun when we do them. We have such a laugh.
Oh, yeah.
Even pulling apart great movies with tiny little nitpicks is fun.
Yeah.
So
we keep the
thank you for
lightheartedness.
that. Yeah, this has been great. But before we go, is there anything that you want to, anything you want to plug, anything you want to say?
There is, yeah, absolutely. So, guys, we're approaching the midpoint of October, and as we alluded to earlier on, the anniversary of From Russia with Love, I am on the final episode very shortly. It's going to air on the 5th of November on Bonfire Night, when fireworks will explode, because this is the finale, and I'm so excited because this is honestly a game I have loved playing. I'm almost gutted it's ending. But I would love you to join me for that moment, and we'll unveil the next game that will be coming on the cinematic playthrough version that I'm doing. So thank you very much for that. And of course, just keep liking and subscribing our channel, because we are seeing engagement that we are really, really enthralled by. We've just hit over our 200 on Facebook, and we are nearly our 100 on YouTube in less than a year. So that's incredible, and thank you so much.
I couldn't agree with you more, Mike. I totally agree with you. I think you're right. Absolutely. I literally, my brain stalled for a moment there. Like, I don't know what happened. ChatGPT hadn't loaded up my script.
But you're buffering.
Yeah, I was buffering. Yeah, I think like with regards to Facebook and YouTube and Instagram, we've hit 100 followers in a week on Instagram. That's amazing. So
Incredible.
Thank you to everyone. And it's been lovely connecting with the Bond community I think it's kind of opened my eyes to like how big the Bond community is on Instagram, because it feels like everybody that follows each other are part of that community. There are other podcasts, there are other like social media presence, other YouTubers. So it's really fun to see, and it's really nice to sort of dip our toes into that. So thank you to everyone that's been really welcoming. With the From Russia with Love, remember the 5th of November. If you're thinking of going out, if your family's like, oh, Dad, take us to a bonfire night, you can be like, shut up. No. Did you not know that the final episode of From Russia with Love on the Ultimate Bondcast is out? We can have bonfires any day. We live in England. Turn the corner, there's a bonfire.
It's going to go out in the later evening, though. So I want to give some people some respect.
Okay. See, what you're saying is perhaps if there's a 5 o'clock bonfire, people could get out. Watch a few fireworks, come back,
get a bit of food, sit down, and watch the final installment. That's the aim. So we are just the most amazing, caring guys in this channel, aren't we?
That sounds like what a way to spend a bonfire night.
Absolutely.
Oh, look at that bonfire night. Okay.
We are missing a marketing trick on that, aren't we?
Yeah, honestly, trademark that.
One thing we also need to highlight. One thing we also need to highlight, Chris, as well, is we are in the planning stages of our Christmas special. So there will probably only be 1 or 2 shows maximum in December, but we're planning a bit of a bumper,
as opposed to the 1 or 2 episodes that we do on a normal month.
It might just be one, but it might be one sort of bonanza extravaganza one, which we are planning. So
if you thought bonfire night was a good night, then get ready for the Christmas Bond extravaganza, where we'll come up with hopefully something wordy that sounds good. Anyway, I thought like our Facebook, like our YouTube, like our Instagram, keep subscribing. It really helps us out. I've loved this has been fantastic, Mike.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us, guys.
And the only thing that we have left to say is you've been watching the Bondcast,
the Ultimate Bondcast.